All right, here we are, looking out at the blue sky and the nice sunshine, wishing we were out there, but not yet. Still a little too snowy, and the snow is melting, but not fast enough yet. Tomorrow's supposed to be getting way warmer, high 40s and close to the 50s here in Ontario. We'll most likely get out then. Looks like the temperatures are going to be pushing up more spring-like every day, at least for the foreseeable future. So we'll be getting out more, without a doubt. So just wanted to, still want to touch base and get alive. Sorry we're jiggly here. We're just trying to get situated here. Not not seeing any buds on. I am seeing buds on the trees here already. In fact, which is, it's not even the end of February yet, but you can. Sorry. You can't see it in the camera, but as I look out, some of the tips on these trees are starting to look green. And that's probably not a good thing. Oh, that's interesting. Looks like we've got a squirrel in our windowsill here. You can see the footprint right there in the snow. Yeah, so we definitely got some buds on these trees. That's not necessarily a good thing because we've seen frost here all the way until May. So into Mother's Day, we've had snow. I've seen it snow, 4, 5, 6 centimeters for Mother's Day here in this part of Ontario. And frost as well. And those trees start getting leaves now, and then it'll kill them off if we have frost. But it is supposed to be an early spring, so who knows, right? Who knows? So, on this channel, I like to do the vlogs and the walks and the local events, but we also discuss other things such as technologies and stuff like that. And there's been a lot of talk about H.224 for Windows 11 and the changing of what it takes to use Windows 11 and how their pop count or whatever they want to call it is going to eliminate allowing older PCs to use Windows 11 and update. But I just want to let all you guys know that if you're running computers with i5s or i7s that are 4th generation, they're going to be perfectly fine. They have all the instruction sets that Microsoft is looking for, or counting, as they say, for the scanners and, like the fingerprint scanners and the eye scanners and the hello pictures for logging in and stuff like that. And they were definitely around until 2017, way after Windows 8. And even after Windows 10 came out, they continued making i5s in 4th generation up until 2017. Okay, some of the computers didn't come with always come with Wi-Fi. They didn't always come with the scanners. They were the higher end computers, but the processors were made for that. Nonetheless, whether you had it or you didn't. So don't forget, if you're already using Windows 11, don't let them scare you off. Don't let them chase you into spending a lot of money. For a new PC, it's not necessary. And in fact, Windows 10, right now, up until this time, has just about everything Windows 11 does. 100%. They put everything that's on Windows 11 into Windows 10, and there's a reason for that. Because there's more people. There's 60%, 65% of the people still using Windows 10. Even with new PCs. They're getting new PCs and they are wiping the drives and putting Windows 10 on them. That's exactly what they're doing with them. So, but if you do have older PC and you've got Windows 11 on it, don't let them scare you into running off and spending thousands for a new PC. Even the newer mini PCs are $250 and $300, and they play games. They will do gaming and streaming and editing and anything you need them to do, and they're out there for $250 to $400. And I mean, you can get a mini PC up to $1,000, but why? What purpose will it serve? You don't need to spend that much on your tech anymore. Phones are a little bit higher because the smaller parts are more costly. I mean, they're getting up to 1 and 4 terabytes of memory on a smartphone, and the tiny form chips and whatnot cost more because the smaller you go, the higher the price. So you're paying your $800 or $1,000 for your phone. And you have to have that 1 to 4 terabytes of storage. There's no more SD card slots on them or anything like that. It's either a lot of built-in storage or use the cloud. And the way people are using their technology is changing too. More people are using their phones for streaming and videos like I am here. In fact, short form lives are becoming a bigger thing. YouTube just started allowing vertical live streams to start showing up in the short speed. And they are monetizing them, just like they would the wide screen. And it's helping people build their channels and their viewing hours too, because a lot of people will pop in to look at those verticals because they show up as they scroll by on their phone, on their smartphone, on YouTube or whatever. The long verticals will pop up and they'll come and take a quick look at it. And you gain a lot of subscribers, and you get a lot of watch hours that way too. The best way to get watch hours is these lives. No, this isn't a live, but lives. I do have lives, but they're all in the house, and the longer that live can be, the more watch hours you'll get. I mean, I've had some incredible lives where I just put the weather cam up. Was it last week when we had all this snow? I had the weather cam up for almost 6 hours. My best live ever in all the time I've had this channel since 2011. And I had a lot of view hours and a lot of people watching, a lot of view hours. There are a lot of people watching weather out there, especially weather cams. So you got some kind of weather happening, whether it's a blizzard, a tornado, monsoon, super heavy rain, flooding. Put your phone out there on a gimbal or on a rack and just let it go. Turn the microphone off. Doesn't even need sound. Just pointed out your window, and if you don't have anybody around, like I do, my house is full, so we turn the microphone off. But if you don't have to, and you can get the sound of nature, people love to hear that too. They love to hear the sound of falling rain and waves or whatever you can come up with for audio. It's the relaxing vibes. Another incredible way to get views and build your YouTube channel toward monetization. Just letting people listen and watch weather. I like the walks myself. Like I said, today it's still too snowy. You can see those snowbanks out there. Tomorrow they should stop. Tomorrow they should start shrinking quite a bit as the temperatures get warmer and warmer. It should be close to 45 today before it starts getting cooler, but it's already at that point, and it's just reaching that point now, and we're well past noon. I'm going to have to go get kids from school soon, and so I have a pickup. Company is going to do a shipping pickup that I have to be here for, so we absolutely cannot do any walking this afternoon, except what we have to. So you guys don't let these videos and these blogs and stuff about changes to requirements on Windows 11 and not being able to upgrade your older equipment. Most people who have older equipment have refurbished PCs that are 4th generation or newer, because they can be rebuilt from scratch up, because back then that's how they built them. These PCs have everything they need to upgrade, and they run Windows 11 better than the new PCs because they use all the same drivers Windows 10 does. There's no real changes. For me, my PC still runs Windows 10 because I think before time runs out, they're going to upgrade to a version of Windows without all those requirements because they're unnecessary. And governments don't want all this e-waste all at the same time in the landfills. You're going to have so much that you can only use so many reuse so many electronic parts, and if they do away with all those older PCs all at once, the newer ones were all glued together and throw away. New regulations are making them so they have to be user upgradable at the very least and be supported for 7 years, but everything up until last year, that is generation 8 and higher, they're all glued together. You can't do anything with them. So they're all disposable, literally. A battery goes dead, you dispose of it. Dispose of the whole thing, buy a new PC. That's what it was about. So anybody out there with the older PCs are buying them refurbished already, because the whole thing can be opened up and tore apart. And yeah, even though much of the parts are used that you're replacing it, they last forever. They are diehards. They were diehards. They're still diehards. So if they had to have new parts, I mean, other than replacing a mechanical hard drive with an SSD and adding more memory, mostly you're buying used parts, and those used parts last forever. Most of our devices here are refurbished generation 4 and up, because they could be rebuilt and anything could be replaced by the user. And the parts are pennies on the dollar now, even GPUs and CPUs. and keep those older machines going. And companies are still paying. If you want to if you really want a new computer, they are still paying for you to cash in your old computer for credit. That's how much they want them. They're getting harder and harder to get, so they're buying them back when you are ready for a new PC. They're buying them back, refurbishing them again and again and again. Because there's always going to be a market for those older PCs, no matter what Microsoft tries to tell you. They're not going to throw away those billions of people that are still using older PCs. They're just not going to do it. And they're not going to, the governments are not going to allow them all just to be dumped on out in fields somewhere, which is what's happening with them. People during the lockdown started panicking about Windows 11 and stuff like that, and they started dumping their old computer equipment, and the computer equipment is just laying all over in empty lots and fields. That's what they're doing with them, because it costs a lot of money to get rid of electronics. At $20-$30 each for PCs and laptops and cell phones and stuff like that. They're just heaving them out in the field, and where they lay on the ground for indefinitely, because the plastics that they're built with have a half-life like, nuclear waste. I mean, it'll just be there forever. There's hardly no deterioration over several hundred years, several thousand years. It just sits. And eventually it turns into the plasticites, like the ground plastic that we find dust from grinding for recycling. Gets into everything, gets into food, gets in the ground, gets in our bodies and in our bloodstreams and our lungs. And it's causing health problems now. That's why they're trying to do away with plastic. They're using glass and cellophane and everything they can, and plastic made with corn rather than oil, and because it is biodegradable. And so far proven to be, polylactic is proven to be not harmful to life as we know it. Governments are just not going to allow that. We've seen it. Like I said, during the lockdown, people got in a big panic in 2021. When Microsoft came out with those regulations, Windows 11 came out, and they put their own PCs everywhere. I mean, we have an empty field over here. And if I walk through that field, I can go counting the computers and the computer parts and the monitors and the processors and the printers and the keyboards and the mice and all the old components people just panicked and threw away. And the governments were pouring so much money into the economy, they were just purchasing new. With money they were given to pay the rent and feed their family and stuff, they were going out and purchasing new PCs, new phones, new Chromebooks, and dumping the old stuff out, just dumping it, not putting it even in a dumpster or spending the $20 or $30 to have it recycled at the garbage facility, the electronics dump, or whatever you want to call it. They were just dumping it away in a panic. Don't do that. These things are still running today. They're still working. They are better than the new ones. They don't crash. They won't die. But the new ones, they can't even run Windows 11. They freeze up and lock up and burn parts out. It's the new processors that are having those problems, not the older ones. The older ones are still going strong. Some of them get a little bit slower if they don't have an SSD and at least 8 or 16 gigabytes of RAM, but they still go. I've seen Windows 11 run on a Pentium, for God's sakes. So, when they came with Windows 98 or 95, yeah, they were running on those. So Windows 11 will run on a PC, and it will continue to run. Many of those processors were still around, still being made, and still being sold with Windows 8. And as long as they were sold with Windows 8, could have been sold with Windows 8, they have all the pop counts and everything. They just don't have that TPM, which is pretty much obsolete, as well as EUFI, because the new authentication makes everything else obsolete, and so don't Cloud PC. And those old PCs will be around forever, especially if Cloud PC really takes off, because all you need is a browser. And almost any old computer will run an everyday Chromium web browser. Hell, Windows won't even be important if Cloud PC takes off, other than the monthly service you pay for the boot from the web, because guess what? Linux, which is free, can run a Chromium browser, and it can get boot from the web as well. All you need is a Microsoft account. Phones, too, run Windows 11 very well. Hell, I got an A8 here from 2019 that has most of the components for Windows that Windows 11 has, including AI features. And it's running them without a sweat. I can't update them anymore because the phone is no longer supported, but it will run them. And it was running them up until the phone was support was discontinued. And now I can't upgrade any of it. And I'm sure it's probably all going to stop running soon. But as of now, even discontinued, unupgraded, my phone will run that stuff. All the Windows stuff, including Edge, and the authentication app, and all the rest of it. I'm sure a point is going to come where they're going to have an update where this phone won't run it anymore, because it can't update. The drive is full just with the operating system. But that's because phones are made disposable. You can't open it up and add memory to them. You can add an SD card, but SD cards will not run programs. The only way I do these recordings is because the recordings go to an SD card. That you can do. Sadly, though, the recording program I use can't be updated. So, there's a problem there, because it's not running at its best because it hasn't been updated in over a year. That is why we are looking for a new phone. Even though we are still recording with this, and it's not the best picture in the world, soon we're going to reach a point where there is no, it's not going to run them. It's not going to record anymore at all, no matter how much SD card we got in there. It is looking nice. It's doing exactly what they said. It's actually getting warmer than the weather forecast. Yesterday, it got many degrees warmer than the forecast said, and I expect today we'll do the same thing, and tomorrow after that we'll do the same thing. We're looking at getting into the double digits when we talk about Celsius, and when we do that, we're talking about getting camping weather, your 50, 60, 70 degrees. Anyway, I just wanted to get a quick live in here. Not a live, but it's a recording. Could have been live, but I decided to record. And let you know what's hopefully tomorrow we can get out there. Hoping to hear a knock on the door really soon for the delivery company to pick up the stuff we have to ship out here. We're going to let you go for now. Have a good afternoon. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. We appreciate your support. Bye-bye.